Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at number 8. It says select the statements that are true, and we have to select all that apply. Let's look at choice A first. It says 60% of 40 is 24. So how about we try to write an equation and see if we do the computation, if it's a true statement. Now, when we think of our favorite equivalent of 60%, 60% means 60 out of 100. We can simplify that and get 6/10. We can simplify it even more, or we might even use this equivalent of it, right? These are all equivalent, and I haven't even given you the simplest form version of this, because we could divide this by 2 and get 3, divide this by 2 and get 5. So each of these are all equivalent to 60%. So we would take our favorite one. Let's say we like the red one, right? Let's say we like the red one. 3/5. We replace this with this equivalent. Of means multiply, and we're multiplying it by 40. Now, why do I like the red equivalent over the others? It's because 5 and 40 are compatible, and we're supposed to be able to do that easily in our head, because is converts to an equal sign, and we're checking to see whether or not these two factors give the product of 24. That's what we're wondering, true or false. So how about we simplify? Divide by 5, get 1. Divide by 5 and get 8. Is 3 times 8, 24? Now, another way we could have done this is we could have used the decimal equivalent of this. So that would look like this. 6/10 times 40. Does that equal, because is, remember, converts to equal, does that equal 24? All right, so decide whether that's true or false. All right, let's move on to choice B. And by the way, put this on your piece of paper as choice A to show your work. For choice B, how do we show our work? 40% of 80 is 50. So let's think of our favorite equivalents of 40%. You might like 40 over 100. Maybe you like 4/10. Maybe you like 4/10 as a fraction. Maybe you like it as a decimal. Now, if you like it as a decimal, remember converting a percent to a decimal is the same as moving it over 1, 2 to the left. So now the decimal's here. So 40% is equal to 4/10. So if we write this as an equation, 4/10 of means times 80 is 80. You don't have to do anything with that. Is converts to an equal sign, and then we have the 50. So you could go ahead and do the algorithm to see if these two numbers, when you multiply them together, do you get 50? Now, if you don't have a calculator and you're not good at mental math, then my recommendation is if you have two factors, choose the factor with the most digits and write that on top, and then the factor that has the least digits and put that on the bottom, and go ahead and do the work on that. All right, so true or false? Let's move on to choice C. Choice C, we have 30% of 70 is the same as 3/7 of 70. Now, if we look at the second part of both of these statements, because there's basically this statement and there's this statement, both of them have of 70. So both of them imply that we'd be multiplying 70 with something, right? The one on the left would imply that. The one on the right would imply that. Now, what are we really figuring out? What do we really need to figure out is whether or not 30% and 3/7 are equivalent to each other. Because if they're equivalent to each other, then these two things would be equal to each other. So let's look at 30% as a fraction that's not simplified, because percent, remember, means 30 over 100. Is that equal to 3/7? Let's say you're not sure. Check your cross products. This cross product would be 3 times 7 is 21, and we just have to throw that 0 on there. Is 100 times 3 also 210? It's not. It would be 300. So since the cross products don't match, these two values are not equivalent. So given the fact that they're not equivalent, the fact that you're multiplying 70 doesn't change things, right? So hopefully you see where I'm going with that. But if you're still confused, then just go ahead and do the math. Like do 0.3 and multiply it with this, and do 3/7 times this, and compare the two values and see if they're equal or not. Now, you could simplify this too by dividing by 7, dividing by 7. So just finish up and see if they're equal or not equal, because if they're equal, we're going to say it's true. All right, let's look at choice D. Choice D is kind of the same idea because they both have that of 70, which still implies that you're going to be multiplying times 70 for this and for this. So I'll put that over here as well. Now, really, what are we trying to figure out? You're determining whether or not this and this are equal to each other, because if they are, then the two, this what's in this red box and what's in this red box would be equivalent to each other. Now, if we like the idea of converting this to a decimal, we would move that over 1, 2 to the left. So that would be 4/10. You can go ahead and do the algorithm for this and see what you get. And then let's put the 2/5 over here. And you can go ahead and do the algorithm for this and decide, are they equal or not? Or are they not equal? All right, so good luck finishing that up. Remember, you have to select all that apply. Anything that's true, check the box.